Great goal. So they steal 2 points out of Ottawa. And of course, I love Torch's reaction, right? Torch's reaction is like, I don't know how we did it. We played horribly the entire game, and yet we walk out of here with 2 points. Like, how is that even possible? I mean, Torch's
How am I supposed to teach?
Yes. Right? I mean, sometimes that happens
Yeah.
in the NHL, and it's like for them to come away with 2 points. Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Men in Orange and Black. This is episode number 4 with a guy who's dressed as Batman, Steve Murray. I, of course, am Robin. Yeah. I am Matt Craig. We are happy to have you guys with us and thrilled to bring you another episode of the Men in Orange and Black. Steve, how you doing tonight, bud? What's going on?
You told me to dress in black, so I am in black.
Hey, you are following it. That's right. Men in
following
orange
the rules
and black. So we are following the standard procedure. That's for sure. Right. But it's great to be with you guys. Why don't we go ahead, Steve? And before we get started with the whole, look back over the last couple of weeks, which were encouraging signs for the Flyers. They were finding ways to win these last 2 weeks, which was great.
We are at Hockey 500.
I love it. I love it. It's finally, yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the controversy that took place over certain part of these games, Tampa and Florida. Of course, Matvei Michkov gets healthy scratched, and boy, that lit a firestorm on a lot of fans calling for Torch to be fired.
Of course they did.
Which I'm like, who are you going to hire? It's like we've talked about that last episode 3. We talked about that. There's nobody out there to hire. So if you fire Tortorella, where you're going. But what are your initial thoughts there, Steve, of the I'll call it the reigning, the hopefully soon Calder Trophy winning Matvei Michkov, knock on wood.
Well, he is at a point per game. So
yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself. Yeah.
Look, the people who I feel like got most upset about this fall into, I would say, 3 categories. One is the people who don't like Tortorella to begin with.
Yeah.
2 are the people who haven't been watching the games.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who pulled up some numbers and said, but he's their 3rd best player 5-on-5. You didn't watch the 4 games he played before he sat.
Yeah.
There were stretches where you'd be like, where's Michkov? And it's not because Tortorella was sitting him on the bench. It's because he just wasn't, he was invisible.
He's kind of coasting a little bit there too, in the defensive zone, hoping for the breakout. So, and
then the 3rd type of person, are the people who forget what we're doing this year.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace. You scratch your best player, blah, blah, blah. We're not winning a Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah. Just please pump the brakes.
I mean, come on. Look, confidence is an important thing in many sports and hockey as well. I think the way his games before the scratch were going, I think he needed a reset. I think it was good for him to catch his breath as he's 19 years old, playing in a professional hockey league in a country where he barely understands the language. I think it's good to give him a little bit of time to relax, be like, okay, you know what? Let's take a breath, watch a little bit, see what the game's about, then we'll get you back in. This wasn't a punishment. This is not about, he doesn't give us our best chance to win. This is about developing Michkov to be great 3 years from now, not tonight.
Not tonight, or not, in the next couple of weeks. Exactly. And that's the biggest takeaway out of all this. I thought it was perfect timing. If you're going to learn and be really kind of be compared to Nikita Kucherov, which we all hope he does become, what better way to see him from the catbird seat and saying, hey, take a look at number 86 out there and see how he plays and see how he handles himself. Um, you know, I had no problem
You
with
read
that.
my text message.
I did. I did. I did.
Yeah. If this is the guy you want him to be,
Yeah,
it is perfect timing. Go up, watch Kucherov. When you come back, be him.
absolutely.
Do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Become an all-world player, which we hope that he will become. And
absolutely.
granted, it was like, okay, Lindros. Everyone's comparing him. Oh gosh, is he Lindros? He's not Lindros. Let's pump the
No,
brakes on that
he's a
too.
totally different type of player than Lindros.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got some moxie for his game right now. He's sticking up for himself. Now he
Oh,
did
yeah.
do a couple of stupid things with San Jose, which we will cover. But the kid is all-world. He's talented. He needs to learn. He needs to understand. We're going to put you up here. We're not going anywhere right now. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Would we love to be like one of the two wild cards? I would love that. I think it would be amazing for the organization for them to qualify. But the way, it was like the way they were going back then, prior to Carolina, like kind of running around. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. It was like it was necessary for him to take a step back, see the ice, get an idea of what's going on, take some notes, come down to the rink, and he's been playing great. What a shock. For those, Tortorella pushed the right buttons. That's what he did. He pushed the right button.
Yeah.
He needed that break. And he's come
Yeah,
back. He's been great.
I think it was good for him.
Yeah.
And there were some people who were like, okay, I see you giving the night off against Tampa Bay. Fine. And I advocate that was the perfect time. As we discussed, you could watch Kucherov, watch where he is without the puck. Watch him without the puck is the most important thing. Watch what he's doing. Watch how he's otherwise involved.
Absolutely.
But then they're like, oh, well, you got to get him back in against Florida. But they sat him again against Florida. And I don't think that was a bad idea either, because guess who you get to watch that night? You get to watch the Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that not a great learning opportunity?
Barkov.
Watch from up above. Watch Barkov. Watch Kachuk. Well, don't follow Kachuk too much.
Yeah.
I don't want you doing.
Sam Bennett.
Kachuk's a little loose cannon.
Yeah.
I don't like some of the things Sam Bennett does either.
Yeah.
They're feisty. They're feisty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just dial it back a little bit. But watch what a Stanley Cup team, how they go about their business on the ice.
Absolutely.
Those are absolutely fantastic learning opportunities for a 19-year-old kid. And if you could sit up there, and I hope like Danny Briere was sitting with them, like, hey, you see what was going on there? That I think that's huge.
Massive.
Right?
Yeah.
So
massive for the kid.
He sat 2 games. Now he's come back. He's got, 5 points in 3 games?
Safe to say that was right on the money. Yeah.
He had 0 in the 4 games before that, right? So
he pushed.
I know there's people who don't want to correlate it, but I honestly believe, and it's not just the points either.
Yeah.
I think
his
he's
overall
looked
game.
better.
Yeah,
his
he
overall
does.
game has looked better since he came back in.
I completely agree. I think he is. Now there is still some moments where he does kind of coast. Here and there.
That. He's 19,
but he's learning.
This is a new league.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's like you have that. You understand this is what you can do and this is what you can't do. And I think he's absorbing all of this, Steve, to be perfectly honest. I think he is. There's a knowledge base in there, as a 19-year-old, it's like, okay, well, coach doesn't like me. He could have just gone that way, pouted. You didn't hear a peep from him, which I think speaks to his maturity. For a 19-year-old, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So that was really encouraging. And then on top of that, he's absorbing all of this information, not only just to understand, okay, I'm not producing. Let's get you up in the catbird seat. Let's take a look at what's going on. Then you can come back down. It was a perfect time to do it. I think it was a great way to do it. And he's playing great. He's absolutely playing great. So I'm glad we talked about that with Michkov. I think that's really huge. I think for the Flyers fans to understand, listen, last year we were the acceleration of their whole rebuild took place last year. No question. Everybody was playing above expectations. They really surprised a lot of people. Then of course the understanding then is, okay, well, if they played great last year, they should be playing great now. This is still a young core. This is still a young
It's
group of players,
it's
right?
interesting you say that
Mm-hmm.
because I listened to Sanheim
Mm-hmm.
after last night's game against Buffalo,
Yeah.
and that was he was asked one of those questions,
Mm-hmm.
what's the difference? Why you guys play? And he was rather frank. He's like, I think coming back in as pretty much the same group, we just thought it was gonna gel, and we didn't understand that we need to put the work in again. You
Yeah.
always have to put the work in. You can't just say, "Oh, well, we know each other. We can just throw it on the
And we
ice."
could coast or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly. The work's
exactly.
got to come in,
Yeah.
and I think you're seeing that since as we'll go through this slate of games. I think you've
Yeah.
seen that now since the Carolina game.
Yeah.
It's building back to where it was a
Mm-hmm.
year ago.
Yeah, for sure. So that was our initial thoughts of Michkov, but now let's go ahead and we'll go through what we're going to be quickly talking about. Of course, obviously, first period, we'll take a look back at the last 2 weeks, the slate of games. Again, finding ways to win. That seems to be the theme of what's going on, and it's very encouraging. 5 of the 6 games Flyers have had, they got points from. So we'll go
Mhm.
through them, just review. We'll do our studs and duds in the second period, and then we'll also introduce our first pick draft monitor, which Steve is kind of like, oh, we're a little on edge because we want to make sure that we got all these picks heading into the next draft. So we'll,
Damn it, Colorado.
yeah, exactly. Like, come on, damn it. And then we'll look ahead to of course, the next slate of games, latter half of November, heading into the early part of December.
No, actually, they're all November.
Well, they're all November. That's right. Because then we have like a nice 4-day
December
break.
1st is Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
we'll go Sunday to Sunday there. So, Steve, let's take a look. Carolina, right? So we kick off the road trip. This is a rough road trip, as we initially talked about in episode 3. You're at the Hurricanes, but you're playing them tooth and nail. Give them a lot of credit. They were fighting back and forth with Carolina, but in the last minute, Martin Necas with a goal with 30 some odd seconds left in the third period broke the back. Damn it all. Hey, Carolina.
Thought we were getting a point there.
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
Not that we really deserved it because I think we had 6 shots through 2 periods.
Yeah. No, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, that game it's a little bit like the Ottawa game that we'll talk about a little bit later, but that was one of those ones where you're like, how the hell are we in this game?
Yeah.
And Carolina,
Oh,
they had, and this is not one of my number exaggerations that I do when I talk about how, like Owen Tippett has hit 435 posts. Carolina, no joke, had something like 80 something shots attempted, which is, shots that are
Kinda
actually shots that are blocked and shots that miss the net.
yeah.
And the last, you could tell that goal was coming too, because the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes was pretty much our blue line and in. They just came in swarms and they turned it on. And as of tonight's recording, or as of Saturday night's results, they were 12-4.
Yeah.
They're
showing why they're
East.
one of the top teams in the Metropolitan, if not the East Conference. So their forecheck is unbelievable. I mean, it's just flat out unbelievable. That's hopefully will be in the next few years. But you then turn the corner, you turn the page, you go to Tampa. And my goodness, it was a bit of a struggle with the Tampa Bay Lightning in the beginning.
Remember, too, what happened before the Tampa game was Ayerson was already hurt from that Boston game.
Yeah.
And Kolosov was one who played in Carolina, and he played fine.
And so you have Fedotov.
He tweaked something.
Yeah.
So
it's like, okay, well, we got to go to Ivan Fedotov, which wasn't exactly ideal, but he turned in a hell of an effort. Stopping, he had a save percentage of .957 in the game, an amazing turnaround. Goals against average for the game was .92, right there with Andrei Vasilevsky. Kept the Flyers in the game. They get a late third period goal. I believe it was from Owen Tippett. It was his third of the year.
Yep.
With about 4 and some odd change left. So it was a huge goal, tied the game up. And then in the shootout, Travis Konechny with a beautiful shootout winner. I mean, that was a fantastic goal. They come out of there with a shootout win, Steve. That was huge.
You go down to Tampa with Fedotov in net after the first 3 games he played, with an emergency backup goalie on the bench,
Hmm.
and you beat Andrei Vasilevsky 2-0 in a shootout. Yeah, that's exactly how we drew it up.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. Right. I mean, not exactly, but it's just amazing. So then you go to the Stanley Cup champions, and so you go to Florida,
Harrison's
and
back.
Harrison's back in the lineup, and they go out initially 1-0 early first period lead. Things are looking pretty good. Florida, those showing why they're the Stanley Cup champs, take a 2-1 lead. Then Anthony Richard, huge pickup, gets his first of the year. And then Hathaway in the third period ties the game again with about halfway through, and they hang on. This time they lose the shootout, but they gain another point in Florida. I don't think that was on our bingo card for this year, Steve, I think.
Well, we said on that 3-game swing, try to steal like 2 points. They got 3.
3 out of 6.
3 out of 6 against 2 legit cup contenders and a third one who's probably solidly going to be in the playoffs in Tampa.
Yeah.
And you hung with them. You
can't
ask
ask
for
for anything
much
better
more
than
than
that. Yeah. Massive. Can't ask for anything better than that. So you come home to San Jose, and of course, like you're worried about that first game. Coming off that road trip, it's always a rough go.
Not
Maybe the
not
length of it is probably more of it. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, because you were on East Coast time the whole time, so it's
that's
not
true.
like you got a time change.
And you're going down the Atlantic coast there, so it wasn't all that bad. But you come out with a house of fire, 3-0 to start with San Jose, but then the Sharks start to chip away. They get 2 goals in the second, and then they tie the game with about 2.5 minutes to go. I was sitting there watching the entire game. Of course, they get the third period goal, and I'm thinking like, oh, great. Here we go again. And I'm thinking like, what's going on? And then worse yet, Matvei Michkov takes a penalty for punching Celebrini right in the face. I mean, it was great, but you can't do that. Like with the game tied, it was like, oh my gosh. So it was a 4-on-3 power play. I thought it was like a tremendous kill, Steve. It's one of the reasons why the Flyers have like a top 5 penalty kill right now. Tremendous penalty kill. And then, of course, like Michkov comes out of the box, nearly scores a couple of overtime winners. And I forget who it was in front. Might have been Forrester, I think, was in front of the net, and he didn't see him. It was either somebody was in front of the net.
It was Ryan Paling.
It was Paling.
It was Paling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just didn't see him. And it's like if he saw him, it's like it's game over at that point.
Yeah, empty, wide open net.
Yeah, Michkov just didn't see him. So they go to the shootout. They fortunately do come out of the game with the win at home, so a 4-3 shootout victory.
By the way, San Jose did the exact same thing to Pittsburgh last night.
Yeah.
Coming back from
they're
down
no joke.
3-0 and forcing a shootout.
They're a gritty team.
They're a gritty team. They're a tough team. They hang in there.
Yeah. Give them all the.
So I don't feel as bad now after that. But
I love the fact that Pittsburgh, they had to go through the same thing we did. But I mean, lesson learned. They're a gritty team. You have to be ready for them.
You got to put when you have them down, you got to put the throat on, or you got to put your foot on. Put your throat on it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Put your foot on their throat. Yeah.
You're up 3-0. You got to finish them off. Yeah. Can't let that team back in the game and give them hope.
Right.
So then you go to Ottawa and Louisville. This was a little bit of a rough go. Was a little competitive to get off the first, again, kind of similar to what they had in Florida. Got to the 1-0 lead early. Same here, good gritty goal. I forget who scored it off the top of my head, but Ottawa's forecheck. Oh my goodness. They were on us from the jump. They're a great home team and they showed it. And it was, when it was 4-2, it was not looking good. I thought there's no way they're coming away with a point. But credit Anthony Richard and Bobby Brink, Steve, right? I mean, bringing us back to the game to tie it. And then Michkov with a sneaky goal along the side to win it. What a great reaction, too, with him winning it. I just love it. And they steal 2 points in Ottawa.
They do.
Yeah.
Real quick on Ottawa, everybody said, they're a 500 team. They are a 500 team, but they're 500 because they are amazing at home.
Yeah.
And they suck.
Oh, they're awful on the road.
They're hideous on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had them at their house, that's when they're a good team. They played us really well. It kept us to 6 shots through 2
Oh,
periods.
yeah.
But everybody's like, "Oh, Omar, that was a terrible goal." I was like, "Yeah, it was because he left a hole." But that's the kind of goal that, like, that's the kind of shit Crosby does to us. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, he just shoots from a stupid angle and it finds the way in because he saw that daylight. And I guarantee you, Michkov wasn't just throwing that on. He saw that too.
Oh, he did.
I was like, "All right, I'm going there." Bang, and it's
Bang.
in.
And it just
You
has
know,
that, yeah. His
it's
wrist
nice
shot
to
is
have that on our side for once. Just for once.
that wrist shot of his. I mean, because that
Yeah.
shot, like, we're talking like that goal, that shot was taken like just like maybe 5 feet from the goal line. You're
Mhm.
talking maybe about a 2% chance that that thing goes in.
I saw it rattle around the net. I'm like, "Oh, he hit the outside of the net." And
Yeah.
then I realized when he started celebrating, I'm like, "Oh, that went
That
in."
went in. Yeah.
That was
It's like, wait, what? Great goal. So they steal 2 points out of Ottawa. And of course, I love Torch's reaction, right? Torch's reaction is like, I don't know how we did it. We played horribly the entire game, and yet we walk out of here with 2 points. Like, how is that even possible? You know, I mean, Torch's
how am I supposed to teach?
yes, right. I mean, sometimes that happens
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
NHL, and it's like for them to come away with 2 points, huge, and then that momentum carried into Buffalo, and they killed them, which is what I was anticipating that they did. Wiped the floor with the Sabres 5-2, although it was a little hairy when it was 4-2 with about 30 seconds left, you know, but block
Yeah.
shot, and then of course like Konechny with the empty netter to win it, but 5-2 win over Buffalo. And so now the Flyers, after all of this, Steve, let's take a look at where they stand at a glance. That we are at hockey 500, brother.
Woohoo! 18 points at 8-2.
Fifth
We
place,
started
yeah.
1-5-1, so we're so we got what? That was 5 game point streak, right?
Yeah, 5-game point streak,
5
yeah.
game point streak.
Mhm.
4 of those were victories.
Yeah.
Um, so good. We are 500 at home. We are 500 on the road. We are just what's that thing from Seinfeld? We're
Yeah, we're kind of
even
right in the
Steven.
middle, not showing off,
Even
not falling
Steven.
behind. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I love it.
The goal differential between scored and allowed is still around 10.
Mhm.
So that has not decreased, which is also good.
Mhm.
All the games have been fairly, even when the ones we've lost have been close.
Yeah, you're scoring about 3
Um,
goals a game on average. So you're doing pretty well there. You're still though giving up about no, that's not right. 64 into 18. There we go. About 3.5 goals given up. So
Yeah, yeah.
3 to 3.5 goals.
Yeah, but the difference is early in the season we were losing games like 5-1.
Yeah.
Now
Or
if we lose,
6-4.
it's like 4. Yeah, now
Yeah.
it's 4-3, 5-4.
Yeah. You're
we're
competitive.
at least keeping it close.
Yeah, you're in the games, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
overall,
Power
doing
play though
really
has
well.
dropped off. We're down to 18%. I think that puts us at 20th as of last night, Saturday, the 16th of November.
Yeah.
Like to see that pick up a little bit. They did get one in Buffalo, so that was good. Penalty kill, we're at 87%. I think we gave up 2 power play goals in Ottawa,
I believe that's
if I'm
right.
not mistaken.
Yeah. No, double check that.
And I think we gave up 1 in Buffalo, so that's
Mhm.
I'd like to get that back on track, but we're still pretty good penalty kill wise.
Yeah, I mean, we're still tops in the league. I think one of the top teams in the league. Yeah, it was 2 for 6 that we gave up against Ottawa. So 4 for 6 on the penalty kill. But yeah, I mean, they're doing really well. I mean, to be at this point in the season, I think at 8-2, as of the time of this recording, November 17th. I mean, that's pretty good considering the gauntlet that they've had to go through, right, Steve? I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the quality of teams they've played this first part of the season has not been unwanting.
Yeah.
You had to play some top Western teams. You had to play Washington has surprised the hell out of me.
Very.
Running away.
Although I think they
Metro.
are due for a fall. I don't think they're as good as their standings now as of right now. The Rangers have slipped a little bit too. But part of it too is the fact that you have the Devils, like they have like over 20 games already played on this season. Like I think they're in the mid to. I mean they've had an insane amount of games. They're front loaded of their schedule.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like a false first place at this point. I think like Carolina has like 6 games in hand on them or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's something crazy like that. Like that's because New Jersey went over seas ahead of the season to
Yeah.
start to play Buffalo.
4 games in
Um,
hand. Sorry, 4 games in hand at
yeah,
this
four,
point.
but that's still a lot
Yeah.
this early.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've played a bunch of teams, and to be at hockey 500 at this point,
Love
I'll
it.
take it, especially after the start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
After the start, I think now people are starting to figure things out,
Mm.
figure out who they are, figure out who the team is.
Yep.
Um, so we're in a good spot, I would say. Now, before we get to the real studs and duds
Mm.
here in period two, I have a broadcast dud I would like to bring up
Oh boy.
because this has been bugging me for a long time now. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the standard overhead camera view,
Yeah.
where you kind of just see the broad ice,
Yep.
and then they have camera views down ice level,
Yeah.
behind the net or in a corner.
Power play, you
Um,
see like the penalty kill,
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yep.
I have noticed that the standard view
Mm.
is lagging behind the other camera
I've
views.
noticed that too.
So
Yeah.
like when you cut from, say, the corner up to the regular view,
Yeah.
you're seeing the same thing that just happened.
Yeah. Very disorienting.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
when you cut from the standard view to another view, you're already a second ahead of where you were. It's like, wait, how did the puck get
It's like,
there?
what's going on here? Yeah.
You guys got to fix that.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, what's
driving me
happening there?
insane.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like you see Sanheim make a pass out of the zone, and then you cut to the overhead, and there he is making the
He's
pass out
making
of
a
the zone
pass,
again.
right? It's like, wait a minute, what just happened here?
Come on, let's sync this up properly.
Gotta be
Okay?
better on that. Come on now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, now to the real studs and duds.
Yeah, let's do the studs and duds real
All
quick,
right.
Steve. I guess I'll lead off. Travis Konechny. My God. Thank God we have this guy on our team, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he has been all world. I'll throw his stats up down below, as you'll see. He's just been what a tremendous start to the season. 10 goals already on the season. But has just been such a leader. In fact, the San Jose game, he could have had, and I would agree with Boucher, he
yes.
probably had 5 goals, if not 4 of those shots hit the goaltender. I mean, and he beat him clean, basically. Like, it was wide open nets.
It wasn't even ones that hit the goaltender.
Yeah.
Like he would just miss
Yeah.
because there was 6 feet of net staring at him, and like the pass was just he couldn't.
Quite get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
if he was left-handed on the one, it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
But he's right-handed, so it was ugly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have had a 5-goal game against San Jose.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, yeah.
what I loved about him too is when they interviewed him afterwards, it's like, oh, but you had a couple of shots. Like, what do you think about it? A couple of goals. What do you think about all that? He's, oh, I'm an idiot. It's I was great. It was just a great line.
Well, who was it? He said he got back to the bench. They said, "Yeah, it was a wide open net." And he's like, "Yeah, I know."
I was just great. I love the kid. Worth the contract extension. No
Oh,
question
sure.
about it. No question about it. So glad he's on the team. Glad he's doing great. And what a pairing with Michkov. I mean, they've been on the same lines together, and they're magic, both of them together. So it's nowhere to go but continue to go up for him. I see him probably scoring 30, easily 30.
With 10 now, he absolutely should score
Yeah,
30.
yeah, I would think. Maybe do you think he could push 40 with Michkov on him? On his
Well, he
line?
doesn't play. He doesn't play regularly with Michkov. I mean, they're together on the power play. They get out on 4-on-4s and
then the 3-on-3 they're
overtimes
together, I think. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't play a ton together.
Yeah. Probably
Mostly
by
'cause they're
design
both right wings.
by Tortorella.
Well,
yeah.
they're both right wings, and the experiments weren't working that well. But
Yeah.
I he's doing a lot of this. Couturier helps when he plays
Yep.
with Couturier. So I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. With He's got 10 already. I could see 35.
There you go.
I'd love to see 40.
I would love to see 40 though.
I
Yeah.
would love to see, and I think he's capable of it. The
We'll see.
bigger question is, can he get the help?
Yeah.
I mean, he is, other than Mishkov, Konechny is the offense right now. Some
Yeah.
other guys need to
Step
step
that
up
up.
the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's doing a good job holding the fort down while we wait for other guys to kind of find their rhythm.
Your stud, Steve, was my
Um,
dud at the beginning of the year, but now,
Well, I had contemplated giving this to Sanheim because I think Travis Sanheim
he's played very well.
he's played very well.
Yeah.
He's playing big minutes. He's chipping in offensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's really playing some good shutdown defense. I contemplated giving it to him, but I think this is just a better story.
Yeah.
Ivan Fedotov has been the last 3 games so much better.
Yeah.
This guy was literally banished to Siberia. Okay.
Yes, he was.
It's literally. The Russian authorities picked him up and shipped him to Siberia 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think they did kidnap him and throw him into a white unmarked van, and we weren't going to see him again.
It's not hyperbole, people.
Yeah, it actually did happen. Yeah.
but starting with the Tampa Bay game, which he got thrown into sort of out of the blue, where he played extremely well. The only goal he gave up was to Kucherov, 140 points last year.
What are you going to do with that? Yeah.
Right? And then he plays against Ottawa. Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
Gave up 4, but that doesn't. I mean, if you watch the game, he was the reason they were even in
the game
to be competitive.
Yeah.
The save he made with 15 seconds left on the, I forget who the guy was, Russo or something.
Yeah.
Where he had to go post across when he got his toe.
Got it with his skate or his toe. Huge save. Yeah. Used every inch of his 6'7" frame to get there. Yeah.
Exactly. And then he played the Buffalo game last night. Outstanding.
Yep.
I've watched him. He looks a lot crisper now, moving side to side. He doesn't look like he's
leaning or
trying
looking
to look over screens. He's dealing with it. He's getting himself in good position.
Yeah.
This is the guy I think that we thought we were going to have.
Yeah.
And I hope it continues. But for now, 3 games in a row, he's played very well. This is
steal points.
This is going to throw the Cole Kolosov thing now into question because it almost seemed like, well, Kolosov's going to be. I mean, he was named to back up at one point, and then Ersson got hurt, and then Kolosov got hurt, and then Ersson came back, and then Ersson got hurt again. So who knows?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
But Fedotov earned my stud for this episode.
I love it.
Everything, and it was so great. After the Tampa game, Travis Konechny was the first guy on the scene. Gave him a huge hug because I think he knows what this guy's been through.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just fantastic to see that he's finally pulled his game around.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome story. All right, so let's go to the duds.
Let's bring it down.
Bring it down. Steve, your dud for this episode.
Well, there hasn't been a ton to complain about the last 2 weeks. The Carolina game was lacking shots. The Ottawa game was lacking shots. But other than that, they've been very competitive. So I'm going to complain now about the injury bug.
It's been a little bit.
Cam York was hurt before we recorded last episode, and so was Ersson.
Mm-hmm.
And then as York is progressing, then Drysdale goes out.
Yeah.
So Emil Andre comes in.
Then he gets hurt.
Well.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt last night.
Yeah.
With York on the verge of coming back. Ersson also tweaked something after the San Jose game.
Yeah.
So he's going back out. I'd like to see us just stay a little healthy.
Just a little.
For just a little bit. A little bit, guys. Just,
Yeah.
I think Couturier missed the Ottawa game.
Yeah. Was a day-to-day. Yeah.
He was a day-to-day. He missed the Ottawa game. So I'm not digging the little nicks and bruises that are coming up.
Yeah, and particularly, I mean, the leg injuries to me are a big concern. And again, we're dealing with another Drysdale injury, so that's starting to worry me a little bit, Steve. I know he's been.
But I'm not as concerned because we don't know exactly what it is.
That's true.
But the other thing is, I also wonder if, just given the whole state of circumstances, they're kind of like, you're hurt, huh? Take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time because we got some roster situations we got to figure out. We got 3 goalies on the roster at the moment. You shake it off. Bring
it as much as you possibly can back to it. Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
We want you 100% before you get back in the lineup.
Yeah,
wink,
please.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Say no more.
For me, the dud has really been the power play. we talked about it a little bit at the opening, in the opening first period. It's 18%. Not complaining about the 18%. That's tremendous compared to last year.
Better than 12.
Better than 12 by far.
12.
But it is cause for concern. Now,
yes.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is there is still, I think, the entries are okay. The problem is most of the power play is consisting around the perimeter. And if they don't get that one-time pass that they have down below to shoot it to, for Konechny's goal was a great one-touch pass by Michkov to him. I was in the San Jose game in particular. It was a great power play goal. But there needs to be more variety. Again, I keep going back to this, Steve. It's like I don't know where we need to get shots through for the point, and I don't know if we have the defensemen yet that are capable of getting the shot on net.
Well, Andre was doing a good job of it.
He was.
He was doing a better job of it than we had seen.
Correct.
But now he's hurt, so who knows?
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. And it needs to pick up a little bit. I think it just needs a little bit more variety. And again, power play is all about get 2-on-1s. That's what it's all about. If you can get 2-on-1, good, quick passing, you could beat anybody on a 2-on-1, basically.
I'd like to see more screens in front and more urgency at the front of the net.
Yeah. Crisper passes, and then you take that one-timer at the top of the key or whatever the case may be, or at the top of the point. Things like that. If you can do those types of things, it might boost that power play to 20%. It would be great if they finished at 20.
Yeah.
That would be a tremendous improvement if they finished at 20%. But for right now, we're struggling a little bit. We need to get that up a little bit.
We are, but the thing we can say, I guess, is at the moment, I don't see it actively costing us games. That's the good news. Like last year, it absolutely cost us games, particularly down the stretch.
Yep.
They're at least doing enough 5-on-5 now at this point. You remember early in the season,
they couldn't score 5-on-5. Yeah,
they couldn't score 5-on-5. It was all coming on the power play. Now it's kind of the reverse. So at least the 5-on-5 is carrying them.
Yeah.
While they sort out the power play.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully they can figure that out. But you're right. It's dropped off a bit. I'd like to see it start to pick up again. Hopefully last night's game where they got one with Forster. And the percentage was hurt just a little bit because one of their power plays last night was 14 seconds long.
Oh.
Because they got a penalty, and then Rasmus Dahlin of the Sabres took a penalty 14 seconds into Buffalo's power play.
Jeez.
So our guy got out of the box. We got
14 seconds to operate.
Torts didn't even put out a power play at that point. So it's a kind of a waste. It's a drag down the percentage.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what
just
it is.
Just eat it at that point.
Yeah.
So then let's quickly go over this whole draft pick monitor. As of right now, we are sitting 12th in the draft, or in the first round, I should say.
We would be 12, assuming no changes through the lottery.
Exactly. And then Colorado is very interesting. They're on the bubble right now. They are 15th, which would essentially not give the Flyers that pick.
Yes, it would.
Oh, it would. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
There's Colorado's pick is top 10 protected.
Top 10. Thank you.
And Edmonton's is top 12. So as of right now, as of last night, I don't know how up-to-date Tankathon is, actually.
Yeah.
According to Tankathon, when I looked it up an hour before the show, Colorado sits at 15, Edmonton sits at 18, so both picks would convey, which is good news. Early on, Colorado was sucking, and their pick would not have conveyed at that point. And neither would Edmonton at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So that was not good.
No.
So we want to keep a close eye on this. Those teams have now both started to play more like we expected.
Yeah.
But they need to keep it up.
Need to keep that. That's right.
Those draft picks.
So, we'll talk about it in the third period because we've got one of those two teams coming into our homestand. Do we really want them to win against us? We'll see. But, to your point. So, real quick, cause for concern, do you think? Or do you think we're going to be okay with this?
I think we'll be okay.
I think so, too. Yeah.
Just early season struggles for them.
Yeah.
I think they're finding their way, and they'll be fine.
Winnipeg's had a phenomenal start to the season. No one expected the Jets to be out to I think they were 15-3. I mean, that's insane. You got to think of Colorado.
They've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
15-1.
After a 15-1 start, they've lost 2 in a row. So, I mean, they're starting to maybe cool off a little bit. Maybe Colorado can kind of, let's go. And Edmonton,
wait. We don't want to get
too
high,
far. Yeah.
okay? I'm talking like losing the first round of the playoffs, guys.
Yeah. Just do that for us.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Welcome back to the third period of the Men in Orange and Black. What's going on over there? I don't know what's happening.
Gassy. Sunday night pizza. Yeah.
Oh, you got to worry about that too. All right. Well, now before we get really silly, let's take a look at the final slate of games here in November, Steve.
Okay.
And we got a huge homestand. As you can see here, four of the remaining 6 games in November at home. That's awesome.
I like it.
Got the Colorado Avalanche coming in. They're also at Hockey 500, 9-9 as of the time of this recording.
Or at least as of the end of Saturday night.
As of the end of Saturday night. Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't know. No, they didn't play today, so they are officially 9-9.
There you go.
But they will be different by the time you hear this podcast.
That's right.
They play on Monday night and we don't release till Thursday.
Yeah.
I have to let the people know.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, I love it. Nathan MacKinnon, all-world Nathan MacKinnon, 33 points in 18 games, more than a point and a half. I think that's probably a point and a half per game, probably.
That's almost 2 points per game.
Good grief. All-world player. I remarked on another podcast that we do. He is probably my favorite player outside of the Flyers. Like, the guy's skating ability, I just marvel at.
Oh, yeah, he can fly.
My gosh, yeah. I mean, he's just an unbelievable skater and a great playmaker and all that kind of stuff. All world player, Nathan MacKinnon. You got Antti Rantanen. Correct me if I'm wrong on that pronunciation, but 12 goals this season. Yeah. Half of them have come through hat tricks in this game, or in his so far. In the
Mikko Rantanen.
Mikko, thank you. Mikko Rantanen with 12 goals, 6 of them via the hat trick. Steve, you got to watch out for him a little bit, but he could get a little ice cold too. If 12 of his goals, half of them come through hat tricks, just don't let him score 3. That's all.
He's only scored 6 in the other 16 games they had. So.
Exactly. So maybe he'll have an off night against us. And then we have Middlestat -13. Yoive.
Yeah, that stat jumped out because no one else on the team is even close in that plus-minus range.
Yeah.
So I would say, if it were me, when Casey Middlestat is on the ice, be looking to go.
You got a chance, right? I mean, you might as well. Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
yeah,
take your chances.
Yeah, exactly. Then you got the goalies.
Yeah, the goalies for
pedestrian right
Florida.
now. Yeah,
they are not good.
No.
None of their goalies. The only goalie they have that's over 900 save percentage is a guy who played 1 game. So everyone else is below 900. The goals against for Georgiev, who is their main guy, 356. Although now he's hurt.
Yeah.
So
what do you think?
I don't know.
What do you think? 2-1 Flyers? Do you think? I mean, with all these goals that might be not scored, might be 2-1. 3-2. Who knows?
I don't know. I was with Casey Middlestat on the ice. Maybe it'll be a 5-4 game.
Oh, there you go. It's 7-5. You never know.
Right.
Next game after that's the Carolina Hurricanes. We already faced them, of course, down there. Gave them a hell of a fight, but then last-minute goal by Nietzsche's broke our backs. We rebounded pretty good, though. This time we got them at home. Second time this month that we're facing off against them. Steve, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
I'm not happy about that either.
Their game, as we saw in the first one, is a ferocious forecheck.
Yeah, and you have to be ready against this team.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to be ready. Unfortunately, it's a Wednesday night hockey game, so prime time. You never know. Might be an opportunity for the team to show up. So, and Michkov, you never know. So, bouncing back after the game down there. We'll see how that goes. Then you got Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks coming to town. Bedard, -8 so far as of this recording. He's 3 goals, 10 assists. Somewhat decent, I would say, but -8. Chicago's still in the middle of their rebuild too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that Seth Jones just went on IR with a foot injury, so that's not gonna help their defense core.
You remember when we were thinking about getting him? I remember that was a rumor that the
Yeah,
Flyers were going to sign this guy. And it was like, okay, you could be pretty good on defense. He really hasn't done
yeah,
much, right? I mean, he's been kind of quiet out there in Chicago, I think.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when he was in Columbus, I remember he played they
Yeah.
had some overtime game in the playoffs, I think it was 2020, he played, like, a full 60 minutes
Mm.
just because of how many overtimes they had. I mean, he used to be a beast, but he since he got to Chicago, you're right, it has been quiet. The interesting thing about Chicago is their goaltenders actually haven't been bad.
No.
Um,
Just been on the unlucky end of a lot of losses,
yeah, I
unfortunately.
mean,
Yeah.
Mrazek's a 906, but a 2.79 goals against. That's
Yeah.
not awful. And the other guy,
Soderblom.
Soderblom, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. It's late, my eyes are bad.
That's all right.
Soderblom 934, 222. So the goaltending play has not been bad. I think the goal scoring for Chicago, because they only have 43 goals on the year.
Yeah.
The goal scoring is not
It's
there.
very low. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this might be a 2-1 game.
It could be. Yeah.
This is the 2-1
It
game you're
could be the
looking
2
for.
a game.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah.
then we turn the page, and then we've got the Vegas Golden Knights, those unlucky, pissant
The
Golden Knights that
the Cap
everybody loves to hate.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
The Cap Dodgers, the Vegas Cap Dodgers.
Yeah. What are they,
That's what
like
we're gonna
10
call 'em.
million over the cap or something like that because of a lot of long-term injury? Long-term
Yeah.
injury, that kind
Yeah,
of
well,
stuff going on.
that's one of my notes here is,
Yeah.
surprise, surprise, Mark Stone goes on the injured list,
What a shock. What a
right?
shock. Yeah.
Now, I don't think this one's long
The
term,
good
but
news is, though, what's that kid, Jonathan Marchessault, no longer with the Vegas Golden Knights anymore, so that's good. I wasn't a big fan of him, to be perfectly honest. Not a big fan of him.
yeah, but they're top of their division, so, I mean,
Jack Eichel
it's
doing
gonna be
very well, 27
yeah,
points in 17 games. He's leading the squad there, doing very well.
yeah, they're gonna
Um,
be tough.
it's
That's for
gonna be
sure.
hard, yeah, gonna be really tough with them. But then it's gonna be an interesting last after the homestand is over, a quick trip out to Nashville, who has really struggled. A team that everybody on July 1st was ready to anoint as the Stanley Cup champions. They are 5-10-3 as of the time of this recording.
Well, and that's an improvement.
Yeah. I mean, that is unbelievable. I probably one of the more like disappointing teams so far in this
Oh,
very
yeah.
young season in the National Hockey League. I mean, the hype train on this team was out on like they got Stamkos, they got this player, they got that player. They're signing all these folks.
Yeah. Well, they have Ryan O'Reilly, who's a Stanley Cup champion with
Yeah.
St. Louis. They got your boy Jonathan Marchessault,
Yeah.
Vegas Golden Knight. They picked up Steven Stamkos himself as a multi-time Stanley Cup
Maybe
winner.
Tampa knew something they didn't. I don't know, but I mean,
Maybe.
Stamkos a -13 to start the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Marchessault is a -12. Roman Yossi is a -13.
How's
I
that even
mean,
like what? It's like
I I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But I mean, a potential to steal a couple points down there. I mean,
Yeah,
if they're
let's hopefully
struggling,
could take advantage.
absolutely. And then you've got the Rangers and what seems to be an annual Black Friday game against the Rangers. I think that's like written in the NHL CBA maybe that the Flyers always play the Rangers on
Probably.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
Hopefully though, we will outnumber the Ranger fans this time. And I think we will, with Michkov in there, but
Yeah.
10-4-1. They have it is a little bit of a down start to the Rangers season so far. This team did win the Metropolitan Division. They were number 1 seed, went all the way to the conference finals, lost to Florida in 6, I believe. Initial thoughts here, Steve, with the
Well,
Rangers coming to town.
believe it or not, based on the numbers,
Mm,
you actually want them to have Shesterkin starting that game
really?
because
Yeah.
Jonathan Quick is 3-0,
Oh, wow.
964 save percentage, 1.17 goals against.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that's insane.
That is nuts. Yeah.
And then the other funny thing I saw in the stats was Adam Fox, their defenseman,
Mm.
is second on the team in points with 13. All of them are assists. And then on the
Oh my
flip side of that,
gosh.
you have Chris Kreider, selfish Chris Kreider,
Yeah.
with 8 goals and 0 assists. Selfish bastard.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take this 1-on-5 and see if I can do. It's like, right? Good grief! Oh
No,
my
but
gosh!
it's gonna be a good test because the rain. 10-4-1's nothing to sneeze at. They
No.
just happen to be below a red-hot Washington team and an unbelievable Carolina team
Yeah.
and a broad New Jersey Devil team. But,
Yeah. There's 4
but
games
it'll
in
be
there
a
of
good
everybody
test
else.
because
Yeah.
they're a good team.
Mhm.
It'll be good to see where we stack up against them because
Yeah.
they were the ones who would give us the heart attack 2-3 years ago when it was like, oh God, we're playing the Rangers, and then you lose 9-1.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then you think that's when you think that the gates of hell have opened, and that's where we're going for the rest of humanity.
Right?
So
Yeah.
whenever we play the Rangers these days, it's always an interesting test
Yeah.
to see where we're at as a team.
And then finally, of course, you've got at St. Louis to finish the month of November. Of course, we beat them here. Amazing road trip. You go to Nashville, come back home to play the Rangers, and then the very next night you're flying out to St. Louis to end the month. Kind of a weird vibe
Yeah,
there.
good
with
job,
the schedule.
NHL.
I was like, what that's going on there? But in any event, that will do it for the end of November. And then heading into December, Steve, you're off for 4 days. So a little bit of a break after going through a little bit of a gauntlet, really, in the first 2 months of the season. What do you think about St. Louis? I mean, we did beat them. I think it was 2-1. Here, Ryan Paling scoring a
Yeah.
goal that was pretty memorable, but we should be able to beat them, I would think, in their building.
I would hope we can. My notes say lost 4 in a row, but I happen to know as we're recording on Sunday night that they lost tonight to somebody.
Yeah.
But they lost. So they've now lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, that would be
And obviously it's 2
Carolina.
weeks till we play them. But
That'd be
it's
Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's 2 weeks till we play them. I don't think they're going to lose every game between now and then.
Yeah.
But they're definitely a team that, if we're playing the right way, we should be able to get at least a point out of, and hopefully 2.
Yeah.
On the road.
Yeah. So
it would be good to go into this little mini bye of 4 days to end the first 2 months of the season on a good note.
on a pretty good note. So we'll see what happens towards the tail end of November, whether or not Flyers maybe creep above the 500 mark, or maybe they'll be at 500. We'll see. We won't know that, of course, until
it's gonna be tough,
5. Man. Yeah, it's going to be tough. This is going to be tough for homestand, I think. You got Colorado, and then of course you got Vegas mixed in there, but then
Carolina and the Rangers.
Yeah, so you got a little bit of that. You got a little bit of Chicago in there, and Nashville struggling at the moment. So
those are your games where you should be like, we got to grab 2 points here.
Yeah,
because points will be at a premium for the other games.
And
for sure.
Unlike many Flyers fans out there, Tortorella will have this team ready to play. The question is, with the young core, are they going to be ready? That's the question. Can they be ready for this slate of games? Because it's 7 games and 14 nights. That's a lot to go through, but you got to be ready. You can't take a night off. And if you
hear that, Morgan Frost,
right? We're looking at you, Morgan.
That guy looks. I didn't want to put him as a dud. It's second week in a row, but he looks completely lost. He loses the puck every time he tries to do something. He doesn't know where he's supposed to be.
God.
He really needs something to get him.
If
going.
anybody needs a healthy scratch, it's Morgan Frost. I hate to
he's
say
getting
it, but
them now.
yeah.
So.
Or be traded for a sack of pucks. Who knows?
He only played in Ottawa because Couturier was hurt.
Yeah,
and he was
no idea where he was
not
going.
good in the Ottawa game.
Yeah, he was not very good.
They might need him though in this 7-game stretch, depending on health, depending on what else goes on. So you better be ready to play and bring the game that we know you are capable of. Please,
please. We're begging you. We're praying for you. Well, maybe not praying for you. We're definitely begging for you to please show up and play. For God's sakes. Anyway, well, that does it for episode number 4 of the Men in Orange and Black. We'll be back, of course, in 2 weeks with episode number 5, where we'll recap, of course, November. We'll throw in the concernometer. We'll throw in the tracker, the draft tracker. Who knows? We'll do a little bit of everything. We'll recap all the games for you.
Matt will give you the jersey off his back.
That's right. This brand new Adidas Flyers jersey, which let me tell you, this is an awesome, awesome jersey. It's one of my favorites already. So But we'll
Yes, can
see.
we do away with those black ones they wore last night? I'm so sick of those.
Yeah, they're getting kind of old. They're
With
getting
the
kind of old.
numbers you can't read. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you would think something would change.
Black on black, that'll work.
Who is that out there? Who knows?
Yeah. Go back to oh, I don't have
Oh,
it.
go,
up here.
yeah, your
Oh,
Primo.
no, here, right there.
Yeah,
right
go to
there.
Primo
Go back
one.
to that one.
Yeah, that would be great.
That black.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do that.
You can actually see it. You know, that kind
Yes.
of deal.
Exactly.
All right. Well, for Steve, I'm Matt. Let's go Flyers.